Hi, my name is Eli, aka LizzardTales. I draw dumb, gross things and I don't know how to do voiceovers. As with all art, I start with the sketch layer. I initially just wanted to draw Vouch, but I realised soon into it I wanted to draw her husband as well. In the sketch, I want to capture the flow and the direction of the image before anything. I then build up the shapes, refining and reworking each area until I can see what I'm aiming for. Slowly this pieces together the characters. I then refine the face structure, as you can have an amazing anatomy, but I find if the faces aren't correct, then it looks estranged and weird. I frequently flip the canvas to help me see any issues with structure at this time. Next up is the line art. Line art does depend on artist to artist, their methods, how they like to do it. I personally like my line art crisp and clean. I'm able to thicken and thin them wherever I can, so I can add emphasis to certain areas. It's just how I like to do it. I like to have all of my lines connected as well, no gaps, because it makes the colouring stage a lot easier. Within the line, I also like to add small details like strands of hair to help point out the direction of the hair. I like to draw in where and how the eyelids sit to help me shade and render them later on. And with Vouch, her horns, in finger quotes, are made of hair, so they're a pain to get looking correct. However, they're a key part of her character design, so they're kind of a very important necessity for her. When working on a piece, I like to go from right to left. It flows much more naturally for me as I'm right-handed. I start with the skin. After getting her base colour down, I add shadows to help refine the form using reds, pinks and blues to add some depth to the image, and then I do simple highlights to help show the direction of the light. I learnt how to do this colouring process through KL. He's really good for tutorials. And after which, I then move on to smaller details like the makeups and eyes. I really love how Vouch's eyes look. They kind of designed to look like a camera shutter. And when rendering hair, I place down the base and then I add in strands of a darker colour than the base and then one that is lighter than the base. And then on separate layers, I add the shadows and highlights. However, on paler hair, this is hard to see, but looks worse off if it doesn't have it. It's kind of weird, it's hard to get that balance correct. I then add in accents, like smaller areas, like her pink nails, the pink trim on her lab coat collar. And then with her lab coat as well, I used a screen tone in the line art layer to help break up that bulk of like whitish grey. Then I move on to Zone, a bigger, musclier, more confusing one of the two. I don't actually have a colour palette made for him yet, or a decent reference, but it's on my list of many things to do, so I'm just colour dropping from some previous images I've done of him. I have intentionally made him confusingly attractive to counteract with Vouch's more linear design. I've done it so he likes to show off his body because he has a very flirty nature and it's good to show off their personality in their character design. So for Vouch, I aim to show off her intellect and her horribly morally grey nature. However, with Zone, I want to show how explosively fun he is. The process is much the same as it is for Vouch. However, this time I added some blood onto his hand, because a lot of my work does include blood because I just find it's really fun to draw and I really like dabbling in the darker areas of artistry where you see a lot of people don't, and it's very interesting to see people's reactions to it. I'm now in the final touches of the piece. I colour the line art, changing it up like around the eyes to add some nice effects to it. I just find it sort of rounds out the image. And I don't like using pure black line. I never really have. I'm not sure why. I just think it's kind of boring. Whereas if you colour the line art as well as your image, it kind of adds that like added oomph to it. I do change the colour depending on the tone of the image. Like if it's like a colder image, I'll use a blue line. However, my default, as you can see, is default dark reddish brown. I then add in a simple background because I couldn't be asked to draw one, slap in my watermark, and I'm done after 2 and a bit hours. Thank you all for watching. I'll try and do more of these if you guys like them. I do apologise because voiceovers do make me really nervous for some reason, but I'll try my best. Thank you and good night. Goodbye.